Hello and welcome to this very first roadmap walkthrough. Obviously, today's we're going to be taking a look at the recent released April roadmap. It's going to be a general just walkthrough, give you the headlines, look at the few screenshots, give you my thoughts on some of the detail in this roadmap, and hopefully enjoy this kind of format. If you do, why don't you hit that like button and also subscribe. So, without further ado, let's look at the headlines for this month's roadmap. So, 3 additions. Mainly, I think we've all been teased to death now. The Class 700. We will go into a little bit more detail when we dive further down into the roadmap. Also announced is Just Train's first route. So excited to see what they bring to a party. And also Dovetail have announced a brand new UK route. Next up, we've got a few updates from Midland Mainline. Obviously, we were expecting that to be released in March, but it did get pushed back. So we'll see what they've got to say on the development, and also some updates on Peak Forest. So we had in March 4 big releases. I think it's 4 releases we'll go with, and that was the West Cornwall local Steam Railtour, which kind of went a little bit under the radar. There was no real big sort of fanfare. We obviously got Linke Rheinstrecke, the Loco Add-on Bundle 2, which was announced at very short notice, and the beautiful Niddertalbahn. It was also great to see that patch came for Edinburgh-Glasgow. Obviously, there was quite a few bits of feedback for Rivet to bring into the game, and they certainly have. But I guess there's still a few improvements they could bring. Obviously, naturally, we've got some patches that we'll dive into, but we won't dwell on too much. Lastly, there's a bit of an inside development look, which I'm not going to go into. If you want to go and check out this roadmap and read through that little, I guess, blog of how they choose a route, you're more than free to. And then lastly, but not least, it's saying that Dovetail Games are going to be a publisher for TramSim, one I've never played before, but it intrigues me. So, without further ado, let's dive into this in a little bit more detail. So, we've got a little bit more about the roadmap, which we've just talked about, but I think the first thing on most people's lips is the Midland Mainline. Obviously, this is so highly anticipated, and it's certainly one I'm really looking forward to, especially with the introduction of the Class 158, which is obviously a bit of a British staple. So in this roadmap, there's a bit of an interview with Jane Whitaker, the CTO of Skyhook Games, and an avid rail fan by the looks of it. So it's great to see that we've got the roadmap here. Obviously, you can see we start off in Leicester at the bottom, and then it branches off into the Y. So we'll just open that up so you guys can see what it looks like, but also nice to see the 158 and the HST in the background there. I think I'm really excited to get into play that one. So hopefully that one's not too far away, and really hope it does come soon. So this is a bit talking about the 158, which you can see here. It's looking fantastic, I have to say. It's iconic train, and I really want to just get my hands on it now. So yeah, there we go. And then obviously we roll into the HST, which is obviously the VP185 version of it, which is, again, great to see that we've obviously had the HST that was in Great Western Express. Now it's obviously been taken up a level, hopefully, and certainly by the sounds provided by Armstrong Powerhouse and implemented by Dovetail Games. So hopefully this one will really shine. Looking forward to that. So nice to see that we've got a bit of a mix on Midland Mainline. The one thing I really wanted to dive into a bit of detail was around the timetable that we can come to expect with Midland Mainline. So 72 services for the 158, which I think is, it's not bad. 59 HST services. It's not, combined, it's not the most we've seen, certainly. But then we've got some layers as well. So we've got 2 Class 45 Railtour services, that requires Northern Transpennine. Another two services, but this time it's Class 66 Railtour service, which actually you can just about see in this picture here. You can see the 66, and there's clearly a rake of, I think they're Mark II coaches behind. But that requires Southeastern High Speed and Northern Transpennine. We've got 5 services on the Railhead treatment train. It's nice to see the recently released Rail Operations Group Class 37 making its way. Obviously, that was very much about moving the Class 375s from from the southeast all the way up to Derby, where they actually get refurbished. So nice to see there's a bit of continuity there. I like it. The only thing that really kind of let me down, was a bit of a letdown when reading this, is that we've only got just the one freight service. And that doesn't feel that great to me, if I'm honest. So hopefully there's a bit of feedback here, say that ain't really acceptable. I think it's fair to say the community would have expected more than just one freight service. There's a bit of a missed opportunity there. So hopefully hopefully they listen to the feedback. And then we've also got, this was rumoured as well, and now it's been confirmed that actually the East Midlands train HST will layer into Southeastern High Speed at St Pancras. So you'll hopefully see St Pancras looking a lot more busier, which is absolutely fantastic. I really can't wait to see that, because it's always felt a little bit dead. So nice to see that's been introduced. And then we've just got some more pictures, which, look at that, beautiful HST. So next up is Peak Forest, and obviously this is Amgate to Chinley, and Buxton. And this looks pretty fantastic. I think it's fair to say the community weren't overly enamoured with the first release of Steam within TramSim world, and they definitely do talk about some introductions or fixes to some of those bugs that people have experienced. So hopefully that's a step in the right direction, but I think it's fair to say time will tell on that one. But you have to say, looking at these screenshots that they've included, looks pretty nice. I think one of the things, and we've got the route map. I think one of the things the community certainly fed back on is, why stop at Ambergate being the I guess the terminus for this route. People felt that Derby was probably better suited. I guess from a Dovetail Games perspective, it probably does come down to time more than anything, and sadly I guess that didn't make the cut. But yeah, it's Steam's not up there and personally in a favorite for me, but I'm definitely I'm interested to get my hands on it and see what it's like. It'd be my first step into Steam, I think. One of the key questions that's also been asked is, will there be any diesel locomotives into this route? And sadly no. And again, I think that's a bit of missed opportunity given when this route is being set in time. I believe it's that kind of cutover period between when diesel and steam were both on the railway together. So it would have been nice to see a bit of diesel. But I have to say, these screenshots do look utterly fantastic. Then we make our way onto the eagerly anticipated Class 700. Now, I think it's probably fair to say that the Class 700 has been really, widely requested, and more so not for Southeastern High Speed, which is where the 700 will be layering into. It's been, expected and hoped for the Brighton main line, and I think, when that route was originally released, it was communicated to us that timetable had space for the 700 in it, and we all thought that's probably where it's going to come first. But no, it's coming to Southeastern High Speed. There's obviously been a number of little teasers over the last couple of weeks, sort of teasing the 700. It's coming in the summer, which I'm quite surprised about, given that we've seen quite a few teasers. It does look in pretty good shape, but really, it's not, this kind of, I guess, section of the article really isn't telling us too much about the 700, how many, how many services we can expect, anything like that at all. So yeah, we'll wait and see how that turns out. But it may play a factor in a future route coming up, which is why it's coming in summer. Don't know. But I really, really, really wanted to see it on Brighton Main Line, because I think that's where it will make the biggest impact. But nonetheless, it's nice to see that the 700 is coming to Southeastern High Speed. That route is really turning out to be a bit of a monster with the various layers that we've starting to accumulate on it. So big, I think that I have to say Southeastern High Speed is certainly one of my favourite routes. So just to continue adding those layers just enhances that. So anyway, that's a quick précis into the 700. Looks really, really good. Next up, not going to dwell on it too much, but for those of you who like completing the Mastery event, there's a Easter themed one coming up. So be sure to check that out. And then finally, we'll dive into some of the core improvements and patches that we can be expecting. So obviously, Add-ons Manager has been a big one for PlayStation users, which have it's now been fully released for PlayStation 4 and 5. Dovetail Games are certainly looking to roll that out into the other like Xbox consoles and also to PC. So no timeline on that as ever, but as I'm sure be interesting to see what that might bring to performance. Obviously, I talked about some of the kind of the issues with Spirit of Steam. And obviously, it's nice to see that as part of the Peak Forest release, those have been worked on. However, it's just quite disappointing that they're aiming to bring that to both Liverpool, the original Spirit of Steam route, Liverpool to Korea, and obviously West Cornwall local Steam. But I did say, I think, a little bit further up that they may not come at the same time. So, a little bit disappointing. HST livery designer, that's been talked about for a long time now, but nice to see it's finally potentially coming in April. Again, Peninsula Corridor and Oakville Subdivision. Oakville Corridor, I thought it was Oakville Subdivision, never mind. Nice to see that come in. There's a few other releases on its way, which we'll see, or releases, or patches that are being worked on. But here's a few from just the past month. Obviously, we had the Edinburgh-Glasgow improvements, and then a few more passenger behaviour tweaks. Obviously, Add-ons Manager, and there's a big release just released today for the US content, which nice to see. There's some improvements, but I don't think it goes far enough in terms of the patch to, certainly for New York to Trenton. I think it's still fair to say that feels like a very, very rushed route when it was released, and nice to see there were improvements, but I think the biggest improvement that needs to be made is that timetable. It is nowhere near busy enough as it should be. So good, but bad in the other ways that it's not been worked on, and I know there's certainly no commitment from Dovetail to look at that. And we've got some upcoming patches confirmed. So obviously a post-release patch for Linke Rheinstrecke, which is nice to see. I've certainly picked up on some of the bugs that were that I spotted on my very first look. So hopefully they'll get addressed. And also for Loco add-on bundle 2, so I think there was a scenario missing for the German add-on within that bundle, and obviously some enhancements to Home Pass for the SD70. We've also got some patches coming from Niddertalbahn and Bremen-Oldenburg, so yeah, nice to see that we've got some patches on the way, but I think it should probably come a little bit quicker. So now we dive into third-party developer updates. So as we sort of mentioned up the top there, Just Trains are working on their very first route. So confirming that they've completed over 40 miles of track laying and signalling, which is nice to see. Really intrigued to see where this will be based on the codes in the article. I think we know it's going to be diesel, and it's going to be probably around the, I think it's 50s to 80s era. So really interested to see what that route is. Obviously, we've seen some rumours about Blackpool to Preston, so that could well be it, but we'll be interesting to see. Obviously, from TSG perspective, they're going to be continuing to work on the Niddertalbahn post-release improvements. So hopefully it'd be nice to see some improvements to what is already a great route, in my opinion. Then we've got a bit of a blog on how they do development and how they pick their routes. I'm not going to go into this too much. I think if you want to read it, you're more than welcome to look through that in your own time. But I think the other one I just wanted to pick up on was obviously the new UK route announced by Telltale Games. So based on the code that I've highlighted just there, we know it's going to be set from 2011 onwards. It's going to be electric AC, so it's really going to be a bit of a guess whether it's going to be tied into the release of the 700. Who knows? We'll I guess wait to see, but nice to see that we've got another UK route coming, and obviously the 700 has also been confirmed. And then last but not least, it's talking about the special project and their patches. So you can see there are a lot of things that they're currently working on, ranging all the way from very small patches to quite some quite substantial ones. And that brings us nicely to the close of our very first walkthrough of the roadmap. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you have, why don't you hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are there things you'd like to see a little bit differently? More than happy to accommodate them. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.